In this series of vision videos, we are unpacking a number of statements that we have developed together with our pastoral team and worked on this, in collaboration with the Holy Spirit, asking God for a picture of what should the church look like 5 to 10 years from now. And this has been such an exciting process for us as a team. And so I'm here with our kids pastor, Sandra Abraham, today, and we're going to unpack this one that's all about kids' church. And Sandra, you exude enthusiasm for kids. Like, it's something you are so deeply passionate about. I can tell this is not a job to you. This is like your entire mandate for life, right? And so our approach to kids is very much that this is not a babysitting service while the grown-ups can do church, right? So talk to me about that. Like, why do we view this as such a critical age group for us to impact?
Yeah, well, we are so blessed here because at Catch the Fire, we put so much energy and love into our kids. And that's not always how it goes in every single church. And one of the things that I absolutely love is that I really believe and walk out in every way, shape, and form that there's no junior Holy Spirit. So everything you guys are learning down there, we're learning up here. And the thing that I love is, we in our lives sometimes get to 30 and 40, and then we realize, oh no, we need inner healing. Well, these guys are getting it at 6 and 7 and 8.
And learning those tools, right?
They're getting it. And I always say to them, if you guys can get this now, your life is going to be so much different than your parents or ours. So one of our main foundations is I teach our kids to be naturally supernatural. I expect our kids to be dreaming with angels and walking with Jesus. I expect our kids to speak and raise the dead. I expect those things. And the amazing thing about kids is if you don't box them, they don't box themselves. And that's what's so great about it.
That is amazing. Mm-hmm. You talk, we obviously developed this statement together. I'm just going to read it out. It says, we have a kids ministry where children are so aware of their God-given identity and that they are unshakable, standing before 1,000 without being moved, each having their own encounters with God and influencing their friends and family. Talk to me about that, standing before 1,000 without being moved. That's something that God really gave you, wasn't it?
Yes. So as I was coming back from the States, from school back here, God told me the next church that you pastor at, revival is going to begin with the kids.
Come on.
And he showed me a staircase and these kids floating down this staircase and going over people, and people were healing and blind eyes were opened. And I was like, this is epic. But I had never been here. So I had never seen this staircase. So the very first time I walked in the church and I saw that staircase, I was like, this is it. This is it. And so as I was driving back from the States, I said to God, how do I do that? What does that even look like? And he said, here's what's going to happen. You're going to teach your kids about who they are in God, so much so that they could stand before 1,000 and not be moved. And I said, that would be phenomenal if we had a generation that could do that. But how do I do that? He said, it's all about me. It's all about getting deep, and it's all about encountering you to the point where you understand who you fully are. Not what the world says you are, not what the world expects you to be, but how I actually created you to be. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things we do with our kids is we're so big on, you don't need to look to the left or to the right. You don't need to look like anybody else. Who has God called you to be? And one of my favorite thing and Brandon's favorite thing to do is to partner with Holy Spirit and be like, what is this kid called to?
Oh, I love that.
And then we actually provide opportunities for that. If they're called to administration or they're called to be a pastor, we have kids do our worship sets sometimes. We have kids come up and we have intercessors. And so everything you guys are doing down here, we're doing it up there. And so I'm so honored to be chosen by God to raise a generation that could stand before 1,000 and not be moved. And the only way that you can do that is when you know who you are and no one gets to define you or move you to the left or to the right.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that when you're looking at vision, it would be easy to look at kids. It's probably one of the easiest areas to kind of have a future-centric mindset, right? To say, well, we're raising these kids to be amazing adults. Mm-hmm. But I think what I love about your approach is that we're actually raising them to be amazing, impactful kids today.
That's exactly right.
Like experiencing the Holy Spirit today.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the statement we say, and influencing their friends and families, that's in the present tense, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
So like, how have you seen that happen already with some of the kids?
Our kids do phenomenal things upstairs. Like, honestly, a little mama bear bragging, but like, I very often have kids come and say, I dreamt about an angel. What do I do with that? Or I was getting bullied at school and I showed love. And so now the bully's my friend. And so we get really real with our kids. We say, okay, what are you going to do when someone comes beside you and they don't look anything like Jesus? You have two choices. You can bring them into the Father's love, or you can push them away. And everything you do does one of those two things. So we had so many kids encountering angels that I had to start teaching them about, like, what do you do when you encounter an angel? Well, the first thing is you go, who are you? What's your name? Why are you here? And mostly, what do you need me to do? And so we had our kids literally transforming their schools and playgrounds and sports groups and homes. I actually had a parent come to me, and it was a dad, and he came crying to me and he said, I'm so embarrassed. And I was like, why? Like, what happened? And he said, my 8-year-old son comes home and tells me every single week what you teach at school, and I realize, or at kids' church, and I realize that I'm not being the head of my home. And my son has taught me how to walk in humility.
Wow.
So that's one of the big things we teach our kids. Go low. If you want to look like Jesus, you got to go low. He said, it's improved my marriage. It's improved my family, like how my family interacts with each other. And it's all because my son is choosing to look like Jesus. And so I just want to thank you. So our kids are influencers. Our kids change where they go. And it's just, again, no junior Holy Spirit. Whatever he's doing with you guys, he's more than happy to do with us. And the great thing about kids is sometimes adults take a little bit more prompting. Kids are just like, hey, if you say it, Jesus, I can do it. And they go for it. They're so much more bolder. And I love that because I'm a little bold myself.